So I was asked the other day about painting by hand as opposed to using a line marking machine. I thought I'd show you guys what we would do with it. So let me paint this by hand. So this is how we would cut out a corner. Typically we'd run 2 lines of tape in at the same time along the edge. So when we're painting an area like this, we'll typically paint either side, leave the center with some tape on, and then we can peel that back, leaves us a perfect 100mm line in the middle, and then we'll tape out the edges like this. And then all we want to do is get a Stanley knife like this, or whatever brand you want to use. We just cut straight down the side. That'll lift right up for us. Do exactly the same this side. Just lift it up. We've got ourselves a perfect 90. We'll do exactly the same the other end. Now, as I said before, this is a 2-coat system. So the first coat, as you can see, always looks a little transparent when it goes down. So here you can see it, and you can just about see through it. Now that's okay, because what we're going to do then, once this is painted, as you can see over this side here, we're now going to put a second coat down. It's a little sort of translucency, almost this part here, and then we come in with the second coat, and that's really going to thicken it all out like this. So we're going to end up with a really nice thick line. So all we do is take a nice thin coat again, go straight over the top, and with those 2 coats it'll look really thick. And then all we're going to do is run a sealer over the top of it, and that'll protect it for forklift traffic, foot traffic, etc. And it'll do a really nice job. So this one's a Gavico product we're using, and we've been using Gavico for the last 2 years. It's really good stuff. It's quite strong. It is a solvent base, so you know, you've got to keep the place ventilated if you can. But as you see, it does a really nice finish. And in fact, all of this that you see here, all of the blue markings as well, this is all Gavico's product. And then the yellow as well. Same with the grey. So this is the one that was painted in one of the last videos, so I showed you the preparation. This is it now painted. Blue just gone in yesterday. Yellow is going to finish off now. Once this is done, we'll get the sealer on top. All we do is we peel back the lines. So when we're done and the sealer's on, we'll peel this back here, and you're left with a really nice sharp edge. Now I'm not going to pull it all the way up because we still need to wait for it to cure. And of course we need to run a sealer over it. And this will take maybe half an hour for this one to cure. Then we'll run the sealer on top. That takes about 5 to 10 minutes. Then we peel the tape up. Lines are looking super sharp, crisp, ready to drive on, walk on, whatever they want to do with it. And that's pretty much it, nice and easy. Now I personally don't like using the short poles like that that John's using, so I always opt for one of the bigger ones that you see along here. And that's what I'm going to be using. So let me put the camera down, I'll show you it going in by hand, we'll go from there. So all we want to do with this is go on nice and light. I'd hold my brush and scuttle right next to it, sorry, roller and scuttle, what am I on about? And just smooth back and forward. And we want to get right into the edges and then just move it all the way along the line. Now you get a little bit of flex in the handles on these rollers. You can buy the short ones as well, to be fair, but we just have an awful lot of these long ones in stock. So, I mean, it does a fine job. Just you get a little bit of flex is all, but it doesn't make a difference to the finish. So that's that bit in. It's nice and quick, really. You can paint. Don't get me wrong. This is nothing in comparison to spraying. You know, the speed. If we were spraying these lines in, arguably you'd have this pretty much sprayed in already. It would be very, very quick. I have actually seen a couple of guys, Parkline, they do amazing spray work indoors. In fact, Ronald Schapper, I think, as well, from 123 Marking. Again, really, really good with spray indoors. His stuff looks amazing. I'm not sure which product he's using though, and the products we've tried, mostly we've tried things from Gavico, PPG, Velivine. Their products, they spray fine outdoors, but indoors, they just, I don't know, it just doesn't work well for us, to be honest. We just find it goes down way too thick. You end up with like that ripply effect as well. I don't like it. But like I say, I've seen 123 Marking and Parkline. I've seen their spray stuff indoors, and I have to say it looks fantastic. I know Mion have a range of products, and they always recommend putting a primer down with theirs and then spraying theirs and then sealing it with the same primer. I believe it's like the Via line they use, although they did send us another product they had released recently to try out, and that was an indoor product, like an acrylic And it worked nicely, to be fair. You know, it was a nice product. But we know what this product does, we know how it works, we know how well it performs. And we have tried other products before, and they just haven't performed. You know, they wear out within 6 months, and it's no good. Whereas when we try the Gavico stuff, I find that it works amazingly well. It works just so brilliantly. But I wouldn't use their, so we originally tried using their HS outside, and I don't rate it for external line marking. I think it's too watery. So I believe they changed manufacturing from Germany to France when they bought out Ore paints, and I just don't like it. It's too thin and watery for external line marking, in my opinion. I actually used some paint by a guy called Ash at Limeway UK. His stuff outside is amazing. For a single part system, it's fantastic. So really we just use that, and thermoplastic is all we use for outside. But for inside, Gavico make this great HS. I think they call it 3S Polycolor now, actually. When they moved it to Ore, they changed the name of it. I mean, it is definitely a different product. I'm sure they, you know, the recipes changed ever so slightly. We noticed a difference in it straight away as soon as they changed. I preferred the original HS, but this stuff actually does do a great job now. But it's like anything, you know, you change something because something can be improved, made better, etc. That's, you know, that's why things have changed. So Gavico are obviously happy with it. We're happy with it indoors. We've used it for 90% of our projects, I'd say. The only other products we really use indoors are KDR resin. They do great products for 2 parts, and you know, we use some of theirs, but the drawback is it takes sort of 18 to 24 hours to cure. Now they do a rapid cure one, but it's really expensive and it's a lot of work, you know, to actually get it down on the ground within that sort of pot life time that you've got as well. It's an awful lot of work to get done, so it's not my favorite way. Or sorry, not my favorite product to use. I'd much rather take my time with something like this, go a little bit slower, not rush it, but get the right result at the end. Happy with that little bit. Let's get this corner painted in. And then this will take half an hour. Once this is done, we'll come back over it again. One more coat. It'll look absolutely amazing. All right, that looks great. So what did that take? Five minutes to paint in all in? Something like that. Like I say, if we were spraying that in, I'd have been done within seconds. It's literally as quick as you can walk. But I'm a fan of just taking the time, to be honest. So I'll let John carry on with the other side over there. He can do the double coat. I'm gonna get the blue out, start painting that in. Let me show you what that one looks like too. So for these, I use like a medium pile roller straight onto one of these nice extension poles. Works an absolute treat. You can just pop it into the scuttle, get a nice healthy dose on there. The thing is, we want to go thin, but because it's a medium pile, it'll pick up a fair bit. We can roll it out like this and it'll just come out super smooth, as you can see. It's such a lovely finish. So this is also a Gavico product, and I love it. I think the finish you get with this product is just superb, quite honestly. So yeah, we'll just go over it nice and easy, cut right into the edges. That's it. You can move pretty quickly with these, actually. It's, you know, you cover, this is a 12-inch, and you can cover the areas pretty fast. This walkway we're putting in must be about 1,000 meters, give or take. It'll be done over a couple of shifts. I mean, as you've seen, we've done it in parts so far. We do small areas at a time because this place is still operational. They need it working throughout the day. So while they're in, we do a bit of prep work, but we can only prep areas they're not going to be walking over, driving over. So it's pretty limited. We have to just work around the customer, and that's fine. You know, it's what we expect. We give all of our customers an option. You know, we say you can have out of hours, you can have in hours, you can pick basically the time frame you want. You can also pick the products. So we have 3 different products they can choose from. We have a single part system like this that just has a matte sealer over the top. So this is probably the cheapest sort of product that we do. Well, in fact, it is the cheapest product we do, but it does a pretty good job. A lot of people go for this for their walkways if they've got large infill areas because, you know, line marking, I think people are sometimes surprised how quickly it can add up. It can be quite an expensive process. When you look at just the preparation that has to go into it, preparing a floor and a surface first, any repairs, just to make good first, before you even think about getting paint on the floor. And then of course, when it comes to paint products, the list is endless of how many products there are. So we try and limit that down to just 3. And I give people the option, they can go for a single part system like this, which is probably the cheapest and least durable product that we offer. But that isn't to say it's no good. Just because it's the cheapest and least durable, it's perfectly fine. We use it, like I say, on the majority of installs. This is the product we'll put in. And we do a couple of hundred of these a year. You know, literally a few projects like this. Well, not this size, obviously. For us, it's usually a lot smaller, a couple of £1,000 worth. I mean, this project here is almost £100,000 worth of work, whereas some of the other projects, I'd say, they average about 4 or 5 grand. You know, you can put one of those in a day quite comfortably, and we have a few of those every single week. I quite like them that size, to be honest. They're always nice and easy. You can get done in a day. You can, if things ever happen, you know, stock in the way, equipment in the way, it's not major usually. If you have to rearrange anything, it's usually a day's worth of work to rearrange. It's not hard. Whereas a project like this, you know, you're on this one for weeks at a time. I mean, this project's about 3 weeks long to get installed. And that's so that we can work around the customer, work around their operations, and just really prevent any downtime for them. I realize I cocked up just there. I don't know if you guys can see that. So what I've done is I've put my scuttle at the side, and normally what I want to do is sort of work backwards like this, so I can see if I've got any sort of brush lines that I need to get out, because we want this to look as smooth as possible. And I'll bring the camera over and show you in just a second how smooth it is. But what I like to do is bring the scuttle down the side, and I've just painted right where I want to drag it. It's okay, we can lift it up. It's about 10 kilos, it's nothing. Always the problem when you're trying to talk and concentrate on what you're doing at the same time. All right, that's that first bit in. So you can see this is going down okay. This is pretty quick still, I think. Now if you were going, I was talking about the other types of products we use. And as I said, this was the sort of cheapest and least durable, but for forklift traffic and light industrial use, I mean, I would put this in a logistics site day in, day out, and have no concern that the forklifts are going to damage it. So light traffic, absolutely fine. Logistics environment, yeah, perfect. If you've got really heavy industrial, nothing's going to beat really a resin or say a 2-part. They're going to be a lot more durable, but of course you're going to pay an awful lot more money for them. And you're going to have the downtime, i.e. curing time, because they're going to take 18 to 24 hours. Unless you go for the fast cure, which is typically done within, say, 2 hours at the right temperature, but you're going to pay through the nose for it. And honestly, while they are more durable, it's not light and day difference. I don't see the value in going, you know, for most of the environments we do, which, as I say, are logistics sites, warehouses, I don't see the value. It's only really when you get into a food environment, or if you get into really heavy industrial and the customer needs something that's going to last for the next decade, be super hard wearing, sure, go for a 2-part, go for a resin or an epoxy or a polyurethane. They'll work a treat, they'll work better, they'll last longer. And really, it's just the initial outlay is a little bit more, and that curing time at the start. But as long as you can find the time for it, it'll all work out. Now when it comes down to flooring like this, everybody's got their preference of how to do it, especially when it comes down, you know, to the paints and the products. When it comes down to preparation, it's pretty much agreed that you're going to shot blast and grind. You're certainly not going to acid etch it, because acid etching is just fucking amateur, to be honest. I wouldn't be doing that. You can get away with it if you're doing a garage floor, perhaps, but it is not a good finish. It doesn't prepare the ground the right way. I wouldn't acid etch anything personally. The other 2 products we use, 2-parts system. Now we've tried a couple. KDR is probably my favorite one to use. And we use the Epicoat Works great. You need to do 2 coats, about 18-hour cure per coat. Does a nice finish, reasonably priced. So yeah, it's a nice one. We've used Velivine as well. They have the Marcolit, I believe it's called. It's nice product. It's a very difficult product to work with, is what I would say. The Marcolit's a fast cure. Now, KDR do one as well, so the Epicoat line marker we use also comes in a fast cure, but you've got to be really, really good at what you do, and you've got to work fast to get the best out of it. And I can see the benefit. We've put it in a few times, same as the Marcolit. We've done quite a bit. All of the DHL projects we do are with Marcolit. But it's so expensive, and I honestly find that they're not that much more durable. I just don't see the additional cost adding up for the customer, so I don't recommend it. The other product we use is actually an ultraviolet. Now, I don't like the ultraviolet paints. They look, the coloration's shit. I just don't like it. I'd prefer to use a water-based product with really decent coloration, but also price. I mean, at the end of the day, we can all agree that the best way to prep your floor is shot blast and grime, but when it comes down to product application, which one you're going to use and how you're going to apply it, everybody's got their own opinion on it. And you know, you get some hardened veterans been doing it for 10, 20 years will tell you their way's the only way and everybody else is just an amateur. But honestly, each to their own. I think go with a water base, chuck on a UV sealer, you get a nice glossy finish as opposed to this one. This is a matte finish, and the thing I don't like about the matte finish on this one is that it looks dirty and you've got to keep cleaning it. Like, you know, the footprints show up on it and it's harder to clean. So, you know, it's like I say, it's the cheapest product you could really put down. It's not a bad product, but you've got to be aware that you're going to have to keep it clean by running a scrubber dryer over it every day, keep it looking nice. Whereas if you go for UV, it's, you know, with a water-based product instead, don't buy into this shit that UV is instant. I mean, the UV is, but only at the point you get the UV machine over it. You've still got to apply multiple coatings, either of UV paint or water-based paint, or whatever you're using, wait for that to dry, and only then apply the UV sealer. So yeah, it's instant cure, but it's slow. You've got to paint the lines down, base color, seal them, then you've got to paint it again, seal it, paint it again, seal it, paint it again, and then you add a top coat to seal in. When I say seal, I mean paint, sorry, and then run the UV machine over, is what I meant by seal. Sort of baking it on. But it's slow going. So yeah, instant cure, but don't think that means your lines are painted and they're instantly ready to traffic. No. We're talking 3, maybe 4 meters a second the machine will run, which, sorry, a minute, not a second. Like, we're talking a pace like this, tiny little steps like that to try and get the machine going over the lines. It takes forever. But as I was saying, I really don't like the color you get from UV. You've got to do so many coats to get a decent color. Whereas with one of these, you can do 2 coats pretty quickly and relatively cheaply. As I was saying, this job here, just under 100,000, say. For me to do this in UV, I would probably peg it around the £1 million mark. You know, that's the difference. UV is something you'd use in a specialist area. You're not for an infill area like this. For this, you can go for this product right here that we're using, or you could go for a hybrid UV, which means you're just using the sealer. That'll run you to, let's say, 150,000. And then the same if you were going to go for a 2-part system, whether it's a resin-based, epoxy, or polyurethane, etc. Probably run you about the 150,000 mark. So, you know, there is a big difference in the cost. It just depends. Some contractors prefer one thing over the other. Fortunately, as I came into this industry without any prior experience of it, I haven't had that sort of bias placed upon me of which products are best. And quite honestly, I just try them all. See, that's the benefit, is I'm not biased to one product over another. I'll just buy every single product on the market, give them all a go, decide for myself which is working best. A lot of guys have been doing it 10, 20 years. They're fixed using a single product. That's all they use, that's what they learned on, it's what they're stuck with. Coming from outside of the industry, from an electrical background, I didn't know anything about the products, and so I had no bias on it. And actually, I think it's been a blessing, because I've been able to buy and try every single product out there. And while some people will say, you know, you can't put that down, it's a shit product, you should be using 2 parts of polyurethane, or you should be using an epoxy. Truth is, they probably never bought this product. They probably never tried it. They don't actually know what they're talking about. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they're no good and they can't do their job. What I'm saying is they haven't tried other products like this, so they don't know what they're talking about when they say it doesn't work or it's not as good. The other thing I think is important, depends who applies it and how, what kind of preparation, because really that's the key thing. You can put a great product down, but if you don't prepare the floor properly, it isn't going to last. Preparation is, you know, the biggest factor. After that, the product you use, yeah, there's differences, but quite honestly, most of them are all pretty good. There's a few that have been shit, but mostly on the whole, they're much the same. Just get this little corner in here. You know, it's not often I actually I come out and do the jobs. I don't know if that's a blessing for the guys or a curse. I don't know how they're feeling. They kind of left me to it. It's, yes, boss, how you doing? Crack on. It's looking good. This side here, it's about ready for the second coat. I've actually got the camera fitted. Let me show you what. So this is a magnet brush that we use. It picks up the shot, anything that's spent from the shot blaster, if it hasn't been recirculated. Let me show you this, this blue lines that we've been painting in the walkway. So it takes half an hour, give or so, to cure. But this is what it looks like after the first coat going down. Now if you see up here, there, that's got the matte sealer, so you can see it's a bit duller than this, which has just gone down. This has got one more coat to go on, but when it's done, we'll cover it in the matte sealer. And what I mean about the footprints, let me wheel you up here a little bit. I don't know if you guys can see, you get like little marks, just like nothing major, but I see them and they can be cleaned off straight away. You can run a scrubber dryer over it, you can clean it straight up. But it always bothers me. I like it with a nice glossy finish. That thing there is looking amazing. That's going to be a little quarantine area next to the TV. They can stand and read whatever they want to read. I didn't quite get the idea, because to me the hatching area is somewhere you don't go or you don't leave stuff in. Whereas in this case, they want you to stand in that area while you're reading what's on the TV and not in the walkway. I would have probably gone for a green pad or something like that. But they wanted yellow and blue hatch lines, so that's what they got. So the rest of the floor up here is looking great. Oh, we've got some zebras. Let me wheel you up. Sorry, it's a little wobbly. So these are some zebra crossing pads that we're going to put in. We've made them the same width as the walkway, so it starts out on the line, on the edge, if you like, even gap in between. And you can see the old ones. You can just see the outline where they were yellow. These ones that we're putting in are going to go in blue, so all of this floor, all the way up here, is actually going back in grey. So there's a set of zebras up there, set of zebra crossings up here. All of that's going to be painted in tonight, and then all of the grey, the blue walkway I'll have finished in the next hour, hour and a half. Then tomorrow we head down that way. Let me show you down that way quickly. We've put the walkway down the side already, so it's all the grey to go around it. And then the last little bits we've got, there's a walkway going down here on the left, but then the big area left to do, this one here where the cranes are. So for this area, we're having grey all the way down, and then you've got a 100mm line here, a 200mm separation, and then a 200mm line, and then you've got a 600mm gap, and then another 100mm line in yellow. And that's to show where the crane wheels go. Let me move it over and I'll show you what that looks like. Line here, 600 off. You've got a 200mm off line here and a 100mm line there. Grey in between all of it, yellow for the main lines. Look good, but it's a big, big process. And then behind me here, this is where the grey's going in. And yeah, well look, I think that's probably about all we're gonna get into this video. It's already running on like well over 20 minutes, I suppose, really. So we'll call it there. And of course, I will see you guys in the next video.